Well-known author, investment banker, consumer advocate, analyst, trader. Chris Markowski is the watchdog on Wall Street.
You want answers?
Exposing the lies and myths that the big brokerage firms, the mainstream press, and the government are pushing to keep Americans away from financial freedom.
You can't handle the truth.
Bringing America the truth about what really happens in the financial world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
All right, welcome everyone. You know, from time to time here on the program, we continue to add stations and new affiliates and new listeners around the country. And it's not just here on the radio show. The podcast, which I started to do, has really taken off. And I'm really pleased at the amount of people that are signing up and listening every single day as I continue to take a look at those metrics. I've been trying to keep that short and sweet, around a half an hour. It's been getting a little bit longer as of late, as I've been doing some other things on the podcast, going back and evaluating the Republican 2016 platform and where we are and what they did over the past almost 4 years now. And we're going to continue to do that. We're going to also do this on the radio show as well. But who we are as a radio show, where we've come from. And again, it's been over 20 years now I've been on the air. We are the longest running financial program in the country, but you can't really qualify us or pigeonhole us as just a financial program. Financial programs, they come and they go. More often than not, you get some local stockbroker that gets a couple bucks together and decides to run a buy, sell, and hold show on the air. And they come and they go, and then they lose people money, and it's kind of silly. And most of them they're not very good, and many of them are just designed to rip people off. And we've discussed this here on the show. When I originally started the program, what they wanted me to do, I was discovered, and discovered. People say, hey, you got to do your own program. You should have your own show. And I was doing guest appearances on programs during the 1990s. And I'm going on these programs, and I'm basically the whipping boy. What I mean by that is that I'm the one that's going on the show warning everybody that these .coms are overvalued, warning people about Enron and all of these companies that are going to fall apart. And everybody, I was basically made fun of. It would be me and everybody else. You don't know what you're talking about, fuddy-duddy. And we were right. We were right the entire time. And, I said, hey, everything kind of falls apart. Chris wants to start a show. And they wanted me to do a buy, sell, and hold program. At the time, I think Jim Cramer had his own radio show too. And they wanted me to run something similar to what he does. And I said, no, won't do it. To this day, many certain television programs out there, they'll contact my people. Can we have Chris on the show, and can he discuss the hot stocks that he's looking into right now? And we have to repeat ourselves again and again and again. We don't do that. We don't do that. We're financial planners. We're fiduciaries to our clients and also our listeners. A buy for you might not be a buy for your neighbor, but might be a buy for the guy down the street. Everyone's situation is unique and different. Each and every portfolio that we have, at our firm, managing people's money from all over the country, all over the world, is different. Because each individual is different. I don't run a hedge fund. That's not what I do. It's not what I do. I'll tell you what's in my portfolio based upon what I want to do and where I am in life, and that might be different from you. Everyone's situation is unique and different, and that's how we've handled this program. We talk at great lengths here on the show about various different financial planning issues, and we try to almost get rid of that word plan. I've been trying to get rid of that and try to use the word prepare, because you don't know what's going to be around the corner. And not only that, you don't want to box yourself in. You don't want to limit yourself in life. You want to be able to go ahead and take a risk. The old Robert Frost poem. Listen, I'm not much for poetry, but I remember that one, The Road Not Taken. You might want to take that different path in the wood, and you want to be prepared to do that, because that's what makes life great. Now, people listening to this program, and we'll talk about financial preparation issues, what's going on in the economy, what we see, rip-offs, scams, what to avoid. But we also talk about life in general. Because there aren't any financial markets, there aren't any of the things that we're able to enjoy here as a country without America, who we are. And, I've put out warnings over the years in regards to societal issue, culture, cultural rot within our, I want to say rot in capitalism, but that's wrong. I've said this for a while. We're not really running a capitalist system anymore in this country. It's a crony system, and crony systems are much more indicative of socialism than capitalism, where it's not so much a meritocracy, it's based upon who you know or what connections you have to people in power. Years ago, I have to say this is probably around, probably 2004, 2005, that point in time. And again, I take a look, it's a while ago, and the various different lessons that I've had. 2004 was the first time I attended a national political convention. It's at the New York Republican National Convention in New York City. And when I'm there, I watch and I listen, and I try to figure out who people are. And there's been various different times in my life where I've passed up a myriad of different opportunities that would have put a hell of a lot of coin in our pockets. My business, my family, I passed it up. And reason being is I didn't have an ethical bypass at birth. I don't take shortcuts. I won't. I'm not gonna bend. I'm not gonna change who I am for an extra buck if I believe that's the wrong thing to do. It might be the legal thing to do, because that's a whole nother world. We talk about how laws are written here in the United States, especially when it comes to business, when it comes to tax law. There's what's legal and what's right, but is it ethical and right? And it's things that, again, I don't have to grapple with. It's just rejected. And we like to point these out to people here on the show. But anyway, going back to 2004, 2005, I became more and more disgusted. More and more disgusted by what I saw not only in corporate America, but in the media, with politics. I remember, big-time Republicans. I'm in a conversation. It's just ex-senators telling people, no, you need to switch parties. You need to run in that district as a Democrat because then you can win. They didn't care it didn't matter to them. All that mattered was the power that they were holding on to. And I left. I was a member of the Republican Party. I left the Republican Party because I couldn't do it. Again, couldn't do it. Didn't have that ethical bypass at birth. Couldn't do it. And I came up with my little watchdog on Wall Street axis of evil. We've been talking about this for a while. This big business, politicians, mainstream media. That watchdog on Wall Street axis of evil is more dangerous to the United States than Vladimir Putin in Russia. It's more dangerous than China, than North Korea. It's more dangerous than Al-Qaeda. And I've been proven correct. Hey, the watchdog on Wall Street axis of evil would have no problem doing business with China, would have no problem taking American factories and businesses and telling the people that it's great that we're going to offshore all this stuff and basically put all these Americans out of work and get them addicted to opiates eventually. They had no problem doing that. Do you understand? No problem at all. They had no problem basically putting deals together with various different actors in oil and gas and enriching them. So it's pretty nefarious stuff. It really is. And we talk about that here on the program. And everything that we've been talking about, I've been giving this a lot of thought. I know I've been ranting and raving here on the show about what's happening in our world. And again, I'm constantly grappling and trying to get my arms around this stuff too. What we're seeing here today, what we're experiencing here today in America, and we see it on TV, and we see each other, people at each other's throats. This has been going on for a while. It's been going on for about 20 years. It's been getting worse instead of better. I've been on the air for 20 years, and I've covered this all. And it's coming to a head. It is. Yeah, we got idiots in the mainstream media. I understand that. They're kids out there. They don't know what the hell they're covering more often than not. But with the pandemic that's taken place and people being locked up, and you add ingredient after ingredient, issue after issue, this is where we've gotten to today. I know I'm being a little bit philosophical today, again, on the program. We're going to talk about these issues throughout the show. We got a lot of financial planning stuff we've got to do on the program today as well, and many business stories also. But this stuff is truly important. We're going to take a break right here, and I want to kind of delve a little bit deeper into this when we get back. Don't go anywhere. You are listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street show. And again, we always are inviting people to come into the fold, become a part of the Watchdog on Wall Street family. Our newsletter, consultations with our certified financial planners. We've got phenomenal things available to you. We'd love for you to sign up for our podcast. Everything at our website is absolutely free. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. We also have a 24-hour-a-day help hotline, 1-800-471-5984. That's 800-471-5984. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The only man who is taking on the Wall Street establishment. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
The things that we've been ranting and raving about here on the program for a long time. And again, unlike my peers, and I'm honest, my peers are much bigger than I am. You think I can compare with Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity and some of the other guys out there. I can't. However, I'm different from them because, again, I'm an equal opportunity basher. I'm an equal opportunity basher. I go after everyone. And we have had horrible leadership on both sides. Things that we've yelled and screamed about here on the program that have been plain as day, evident to us here on the program. It's coming together right now, if that makes any sense. It's happening right now. We're dealing with this right now. What did you think was going to happen? What do you think was going to happen when we send kids off to college? Send kids off to college. Oh, my little Johnny, my little Sally is off to Brown. My little Johnny, my little Sally's off to Wesleyan. What are they studying? Oh, I don't know, liberal arts. And they're taking classes in some sort of BS, critical race theory, post-colonial gender studies. We've got safe spaces, no dissent whatsoever, people being thrown off stage. Why would you send your kids to those so-called schools? They're not schools. They're not universities. These universities were supposedly built upon the Socratic method going back to ancient Athens. And what are they now? Indoctrination centers. It's like sending your kid to a concentration camp, a cult. For what? So they can get some bull excrement degree? What about, hey, we've got, I remember, what was it, this week, they mentioned that next year, 2021, on September 11th, 2021, they announced that the New York Yankees are going to be playing the New York Mets on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. 20th anniversary 9/11. We are still in Afghanistan. We're still spending money in Afghanistan. We are still spending money all over the Middle East, for crying out loud. Failure. Don't tell me there's any sort of success. It's been a failure. An unmitigated disaster is what it's been. Oh, not of course, if you're a defense contractor, or you're supplying these various different things. No, it's been a great success for you. Great success for you. But for everybody else, no. No. We had a financial crisis, which was as plain as day. Again, to all of our new listeners here, unlike the other financial radio guys out there, even the big ones, did they call it? Did they warn you about what was going to happen with real estate and the overvaluation and what was taking place? No, they didn't. We did. You know, all the people that are actually celebrated about, oh, that guy got it right, are the ones that, you know what, made a fortune for themselves. No, I didn't go to Goldman Sachs and, have them make some sort of contract up where I could profit from the demise of the housing market and everything falling apart. No, I didn't do that. We went on air here, we went on television, we went on the radio, and we warned people that things were going to get ugly. That's what we did. So we had that, and everybody talks about bailouts. It wasn't really a bailout, but hey, guess what? We gave the banks more power. We gave the banks more power. We made it more difficult for small community banks to survive. We made the banks too big to fail. When one talks about capitalism nowadays, and again, okay, I'm not Elizabeth Warren, okay? I am a pure capitalist. What's capital? You want to my definition of capitalism? Two people sitting down, conducting business, both walking away happy. That's capitalism. That's what it's supposed to be. Oh, no. What we've got today is manipulation. Manipulation. executives gaming the system. We've got mega corporations that continue to grow out of control. They're involved in politics. They own the media. And they continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And how does that benefit us? It doesn't. A little bit more on this when we get back. Don't go anywhere. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Again, our newsletter. Consultations with our certified financial planners. All sorts of great stuff at our site. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
You should believe in math, not magic. You're listening to The Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
My brother Matthew, as many of you know, who I work with, and again, it's interesting. You know, my partners, my two brothers, Michael and Matthew, and obviously myself. We're each, it's amazing, same parents, each completely different. We each have our own abilities, our own talents. My brother Matthew is a mathematical genius guru type. I'm not kidding. To me, I said, who in their right mind can go on to college and be a math major? I mean, I wish I could. I don't have that talent nor ability. It's kind of like being able to hit a curveball. I did fine in math class, but boy, oh boy, did I have to put the work in. And, I didn't see it. It's kind of like the Matrix, I guess. The math guys can kind of just see it. But anyway, Matt, when he was younger, it's kind of his personality. I remember him getting upset when he was a kid, and he'd be like, I'm right, you're wrong. I'm right, you're wrong. And I was thinking about this, and I'm going through the things that we've covered, what the major issues that we've pointed out over the years, and what the media and what CNBC and the business programs and all of the so-called gurus out there have been telling you, and what they've been telling you has been wrong. We're right. They're wrong. I love capitalism. I love it. Love capitalism. I highly recommend, that's actually the title of Ken Langone's book. When I go to graduation parties, rather than stick a check in an envelope, I stick a check in Ken Langone's book because I love capitalism and what it's produced. So much opportunity here in this country, so much opportunity for so many people. I love small business. One of the best things about what I do for a living is all of the various different small businesses that have become part of our family here at the Watchdog on Wall Street show. Yeah, and their stories. Their stories, what they've built, what they've created, what I can learn from them. Anyway, what has happened? And again, this has happened over the past 20 years. And I'm sorry. I know that we had 9/11, and it was the beginning of George W. Bush's administration. And again, it was actually before him, 2000, when they decided to repeal the Glass-Steagall Act. And again, we were right. We were right. While everybody was jumping up and down, both Democrats and Republicans. You want to talk about bipartisan? Go back and take a look at how Republicans and Democrats worked together to repeal Glass-Steagall, which is about a 40-page piece of legislation stemming from the 1930s that kept the big banks from getting out of control and too large and too big and too powerful. And the interesting thing is, during the second half of the 1990s, they knew it was going to happen, and they were acting as if it was already repealed. And this is what led to all the whole .com run-up and all of those scams. But anyway, we warned everybody what was going to happen. But no. Both Democrats are. It was an opportunity for them, right? Oh, this is easy. Wow. And rather than have all of these banks that we have to invite to our fundraisers, we'll have fewer banks, and it'll be much, much easier for us to do business with these banks and get our way. And now it's not just banks, it's technology. I think about Amazon right now. And I listen, I use Amazon. I do. But think about what it's become. Think about all of the myriad of different businesses that it now owns, that it controls. And it's even before Amazon. We talk about Mediaopoly and that old Saturday Night Live skit with all these huge corporations owning networks, owning news stations. We here at the Watchdog on Wall Street show showed you the advertising contracts between the big brokerage firms and the news stations saying, hey, listen, guys, better not say anything bad about us or we're going to pull all of our ads. Is this how it's supposed to work? Is it? Guys, I want America, make America great again. I know how to make America great again. We have to weaken the Watchdog on Wall Street axis of evil. We have to do away with all of this totalitarian crap that's taking place on college campuses around the country. We need to allow businesses to fail. That's Joseph Schumpeter, economist, creative destruction. And we have to enforce the law here in this country as well. I think that's important. You can't have mobs running in the streets doing whatever they want because it's the cool thing to do right now. You want to make America great again? Do that. Do that. Listen, we've been, like I said, there was great piece in the Wall Street Journal. They talk about how Americans have been failed and we've been misled by inept and deceitful political leaders. They didn't deceive me. Some of them did a little bit. But we have to make better choices. We do. We have to open up our eyes. And you know what? We have to get involved. I've talked about this for a long time. You're going to have to make wise choices of where you spend your money, and that includes where you send your kids to school. Anyway, I'm going long on this. I got to take a break. We got a lot we've got to go over here on the program today. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com, our site. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Bringing America financial freedom one listener at a time. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
All right. Listen, I can talk about this stuff for hours and hours and hours. As obviously you're aware, you're listening to this show all the time, and it's just my love for this country and my desire to see it back on track. And again, I'll do the old Don Corleone from Godfather 1. I have selfish reasons. My selfish reasons, I have children. And I want them to have the same opportunity that I had. Anyway, I have to talk a little bit about financial planning. And again, to our new listeners out there, most of the crap that you're hearing on air, I don't care if it's radio and TV, is just that crap. Conventional wisdom is poison. It is. I remember years ago, various different software companies coming to us with financial planning software and various different modeling software and all this stuff. Very expensive stuff. And you can punch in these numbers and you can show projections to your clients and make presentations. And I'm saying to myself, wait a second. Not a single one of these models, not a single one of these pieces of software can account for a myriad of life events. It's like you're punching in information into some sort of model that doesn't take into account that, hey, you might meet the woman of your dreams at a certain point in time. Or guess what? You might lose your job and then be laid off for a period of time and then come back and get a better job. It doesn't take into account life. And that's a problem. That's what we do. There's this model that people like to use. It's called the 60-40 portfolio. It's the gospel, according to most financial. It's the financial planning gospel, the 60-40 portfolio. 60% stocks, 40% bonds. Those days are over. Those days are over. And if your advisor has still got you in a 60-40% portfolio based upon some sort of computer program, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong, and you need our help. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com, WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Again, get there, get the help you need. We'll be back.
Taking Wall Street's liars, crooks, and cheats out behind the woodshed. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.
I can see why you think you
Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, I get a lot of emails from people around the country basically sharing their concerns about where we are as a nation when it comes to our national debt, when it comes to what the Federal Reserve is doing with printing money. We've talked about this here on the program in the past, and it's a theory that's being pushed again by these avant-garde economists out there. Avant-garde economists who say that, the United States of America, it's not like a household. It's not like a household where we have to balance, like our household, like your household, like we have to balance our budget. No. It's not like that. And this theory, it's called the modern monetary theory. Ah, yes. The modern monetary theory basically says just keep printing, just keep printing, just keep printing. It's not even printing anymore. It's just the Federal Reserve pressing a button and creating cash out of thin air. In theory, again, modern monetary theory, that can work. Sure. People, what do you mean? You're going to get all sorts of inflation. Sure, you can. You can, and it might happen. It might happen. Would I do what our government is doing right now? Would I do personally what the Fed is doing right now? No, I wouldn't. To me, quite frankly, it's too dangerous. Do I know how we are going to rein this in moving forward? I do not. I don't have any idea. I've got a few ideas on what the government is going to do moving forward and what they're going to be able to do moving forward. But it is a little frightening, don't you think? We talked about my $100 trillion Zimbabwe buck that I have. Now, again, we're not Zimbabwe. But we're getting to a point in time where, we can't even understand what the numbers are. Can't even understand it. There's a lot of talk out there about the people taking PPP loans and who took them, and this one took them, and this company took them, and all that. We got to shame this one and that one. Do you understand? I can get upset with this all you want, and I'm not going to be placing any judgments. People are actually surprised. You're not shaming these companies. No, I'm not shaming. I'm not going to do that. What do you think the government wanted to do? It's just printing. It's just paper. That's all. These are not even, people say, oh, you're taking people's tax dollars. What tax dollars? You think that we're able to cover all of this? It's just paper. At this point in time, that's all it is. And it will work as long as people believe in it. Once the belief is gone, then guess what? We've got ourselves a problem. Is America right now too big to fail? Yeah, I guess so. I don't know if you took a look at the Treasury auctions this past week. They were oversubscribed. You take a look at interest rates. People are buying American bonds like they're going out of style. They're getting gobbled up. So no, people haven't lost faith. Which again, I find fascinating. Because guess what? It can turn. It can turn. Now, one of the things that I think that might happen down the road, and this is stuff that we've warned about in the past. If you notice right now, there's been an even greater push out there to push for in essence, a cash-free society. In essence, what is cash? What exactly is cash? It's paper, right? But if you want, this day, you can go to the bank and you can, if you've got 50, let's say if you have 50 grand in your account, you can take 50 grand out in cash and you can hold on to it. Well, the powers that be are trying to get rid of cash, and they want a cash-free society. And all of the progressives out there, oh, that's great. That's going to be like space bucks from Star Trek. Really. If there are, let's just put this out there. If there are if there's no such thing as cash, then what the government can do is they can push what's been used around the globe, negative interest rates. If you can't take it out of the bank, and all it is within banks, guess what? The government can force you to spend it. Now, don't get lost here. And I used to be like, what do you mean they can force you to spend it? Well, let's say, for example, you've got that $50,000 in your bank account. Can't take it out. It's there. And they say, you know what? We're taking interest rates negative 5%. So if your money sits in that bank, you are losing money. They're actually taking money away from you. Interest rates are negative, which will in turn force you to do what? Spend it. You're going to have to spend the money. What are you going to do? You're just going to have it. You're going to have them take it away from you. It's like flushing money down the toilet. You're going to, I got to spend this money before the government takes it away. And that's the issue with this. Nobody seems to get their arms around this concept. But it's a lot of power in the government's hands. Anyway, that's my thought on the whole cash-free future stuff. Anyway, we've got a lot we've got to go over on the program today. Don't go anywhere, but if you do, make sure you get to our website, become a part of the Watchdog on Wall Street family. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. I'll be back.
You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street. Well-known author, investment banker, consumer advocate, analyst, trader. Chris Markowski is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
You want answers?
Exposing the lies and myths that the big brokerage firms, the mainstream press, and the government are pushing to keep Americans away from financial freedom.
You can't handle handle the truth.
Bringing America the truth about what really happens in the financial world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the Watchdog on Wall Street show. Always honored to have you tuned into the program today. I know I've been going off on rants and trying to get parents fired up out there. I'm the old Mr. Miyagi. No such thing, bad student, only bad teacher. And I've been ripping into parents here on the program or their parenting skills or lack thereof. And I made this perfectly clear. Your kids are not your friends. They're your kids. You're not there to be friends with children. And I made it very, very clear to people that your kids need you when they're 18, 19, 20, and 21 years old. They're going to need you after that. But 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, when they're off in college, they need you. They need your guidance. You need to point them in the right direction, what to study, what to go to school for. Don't send your kids off to some sort of cult. I get emails from millennials. Yeah, I do get emails from millennials out there, and these emails, it's the same group on a regular basis, and I can't read all of their stuff, but they're actively rooting for the country to remain shut down. They're actively rooting for the stock market to come down. They're actively rooting for the country to fail. That's what they want. They get excited by it. They do. Bad news, it's like pornography for them. It gets them off, I guess. They are excited by it. It's so titillating. These people, and it's sad. It's sad, but again, they're life's losers. And I'm not looking for out. I have nothing in common with these people. I don't. I'm supposed to find some sort of bridge to these idiots that don't know a damn thing. You know, how many people, you've known people like this throughout your entire life. Okay? These are people that maybe they couldn't play the game. It was too hard for them. They didn't work at it, but it made them bitter. So rather than actually work at something, rather than actually go out and get a job, try to better themselves, they want to tear it all down. They want to see it burn. I always wish that I'm always fascinated, and I love art, good art, not corporate crap art, not the stuff that Tyler Durden would be burning down in Fight Club or anything like that. Whenever I go, I love museums. Every single time I get back to Italy, I'm going to go back to the Uffizi Gallery. I go to the Vatican. I love looking at this stuff. I love it. It's wonderful to me. And one of my best friends growing up, high school friend, is a phenomenal artist. Phenomenal. And I would be in awe. I would be sitting next to him in homeroom back in high school and take a look at the sketches he would do. And he would do these illustrations of professional football players that we were, fans of. And they looked real. It looks like it looks like a photograph. Did I treat him with any sort of jealousy because I didn't have his talent nor ability? No. I celebrate people like that. I think that's great. You see, what the left has become here in this country today, I guess maybe a good way of explaining it. It's kind of like, everybody remember Tanya Harding? Tanya Harding, and again, maybe this is a bit of a reach because Tanya Harding was obviously in the Olympics. She was a good skater. But she didn't want to compete against Nancy Kerrigan because I guess Nancy Kerrigan was much better. So she hired a thug, or she worked with a thug to kneecap Nancy Kerrigan. That's what these leftists want to do. They don't want to work at it. They don't want to go out and get a job. Their parents have been handing everything to them their entire lives. They've been coddled. We warned everybody here on the show, another see I told you so moment. We warned everybody about participation trophies and medals and self-esteem crap and what it was going to do. How'd it work out, huh? Take a look at what you did. Where it's all about the kids' self-esteem and make them feel good about themselves, and let's not keep score at the soccer game. Life doesn't work that way. Sometimes you win, and guess what? Sometimes you lose. Yeah, I was thinking about it this past week, and it was actually an interesting piece on this as well. Written by a Philip Saltzman, talking about, we got all this call right now. Defund the police. We need to defund the police departments. Take the money away. Okay. Sure thing. You know what gun sales are going to be like here in this country? But anyway, let's take that. Rather than, and he brought up this idea, and I think it's brilliant. Rather than defund the police, you know what we should defund? Defund universities. Defund universities. Universities are the ones that are pushing this crazy radicalism, vilifying American history, vilifying our society, vilifying our culture. You know how ridiculous that is? How do you vilify American culture? Have you ever picked up a history book and seen what life has been like for human beings on the planet? Do you have any idea? What, you think that there's some sort of Wakanda somewhere? Huh? Do you understand how good we have it here? How far we have come? Oh, let's keep pushing all of these stupid majors. These identity grievance programs. Feminist studies, gender studies, gay and queer studies, black studies, Hispanic studies, Chicano studies, indigenous studies, ethnic studies, which are all basically Marxist theories in disguise. It's what they are. It's what they are. It was a great episode, classic. And again, I was looking for some clips to play here, but it's hard to get your arms around it. You have to be a bit of a Seinfeld fan. You have to go watch the entire episode. There's an episode of Seinfeld back in the day where George's dad, explains the holiday of Festivus. The Costanzas and Seinfeld, they had their own holiday called Festivus. Yes, Festivus, the holiday for the rest of us. Where the main issue at Festivus was the airing of grievances. That's it. You would get airing of grievances, and they didn't have a Christmas tree. They had a metal pole that you didn't have to decorate. Angry grievances. It's what these people, that's all they surround themselves with is grievances. I'm upset about this. They can't enjoy life. You ever see how miserable these people are? How sad these people are? These people are useless. They don't have any sort of purpose. The only purpose they have is to basically yell and scream and be angry. That's what they do. And all of this far left radicalism has been, colleges and universities. Hey, yes, let's adopt this. I want everybody to think about this for a second. All the energy that has been devoted to all of these BS majors, because that's what they are. And I'd say it right to face. Oh, you got a major in that? You've got a useless major. You don't serve any purpose. What exactly do you do? Again, you go another sub-reference to the movie Office Space, the Bobs coming in, the consultants. What exactly do you say you do here? We got a lot of kids running around. What they do is their job is to be angry. Their job is to be upset. That's what they do. Oh, it's got to have diversity and inclusion. And we got to hire all of these administrators, these commissars at colleges and universities. You know what's sickening to me right now? Colleges and universities around the country are dropping athletics programs. That's right. Well, what did Stanford, what did they drop? Some 20-something varsity sports? Oh, yeah, it's happening around the country because of COVID. I got an idea. Why don't you fire all of your commissars, your diversity people, your administrators? Imagine, just think about it, all of the money that has been spent on these useless majors. Imagine if that money was devoted to, I don't know, science, the STEM fields. We probably would have already had a vaccine. I'm telling you right now, we would have already had a vaccine for COVID if that was the case. And we wouldn't have such an angry populace right now. What is this radicalism that's out there? Again, this is what Black Lives Matter, it's what these groups believe in. America is evil. We're evil. We're evil. They're all evil. Everybody in America when they came here was a slave owner. Oh, really? Yeah, about 7 to 8% of the population owned slaves. Oh, yes, everybody committed genocide. But it's even worse than that. It's not all Americans are evil. It's only white, male, heterosexual, Christian, or Jews. They're the oppressors. Everybody else, if you've got an LGBTQ or STU, oh no, you're fine. I'll even say it. And again, Muslims. It's okay. Muhammad was a slave trader and a slave owner, but no. They're okay. It's okay. They're victims. They're victims. This is what we did. This is what we did. And yeah, I know. This is, again, a jagged little pill. Alanis Morissette was at her album way back when in the 1990s. Just as a jagged little pill for many listeners to hear. I got been getting some nasty emails from people out there. How could you say that I'm a bad parent? You know you are. You sent your kid off to the BS degree. You paid for it. You helped pay for it. Why would you do that? Now look at your angry little kid. Your angry little kid that's out of control and you're still trying to be friends with them. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't allow it. And when it comes now, you're starting to see these colleges and universities. Yeah, you can come. We're going to let some kids on campus. Hi, we're Harvard. We're going to let some kids on campus, but there's not going to be any in-classroom learning. We're going to charge you full price. We canceled all of our fall sports, so we're going to keep all that money in our pockets. We're going to charge you full price, and you are going to take classes solely online watching YouTube. You're going to pay for that? You're going to pay for that. You got in your mind. You got in mind. Before we got to go to break, I make this perfectly clear because I own a business that hires people, and I've got clients that own businesses that hire people. You don't walk into a job interview at Markowski Investments or businesses around the country, like-minded, successful businesses, and you come in and They're going to ask you in an interview, hey, what happened? What was it like during COVID for you? What was your college experience like? So, hey, you know what? When they wouldn't let me on campus, I took off. I got myself a job. Guess what? You're hired. I like you. Watchdog on wallstreet.com. Watchdog on wallstreet.com.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Yes, it is. Welcome back, everyone. It is the one, the only, the Watchdog on Wall Street show. I have to mention this. Like I said, I have 3 hours every weekend, and I get phone calls from people and messages at various different stations. It's the nature of weekend programming. This show is not carried live everywhere. So this is why people are, why don't you do phone calls? Well, as the show has grown, back when I originally started the program and we didn't have so many stations, it was only carried live. Now it's the myriad of different times over the course of the day. That's why I don't take phone calls. That's why I don't take phone calls here on the program. I will, like I said, I'll converse with people via email, whatnot. I said, call. He was surprised. You never know when I'll pick up the phone. Okay, never know when and I do the best I possibly can to get to each and every person's email out there. Obviously, we're dealing with people that have issues with their finances, or they're afraid of they're getting ripped off and scammed. We have to deal with that first. But I get to them. Now, will I respond to an email where somebody just sends me a link? I mean, I'll take a look. I'll try to take a look at everything. But, there's only so many hours in the day. The podcast has become pretty effective in regards to trying to get out information to everybody. I've explained it's difficult nowadays. I've been doing this for a long time. I can pick up a news article and I can spot bull excrement. I can spot a millennial journalist who doesn't have a clue. It doesn't take me any time at all. I can spot narratives right away. A lot of people out there have grown very, very frustrated with the mainstream media, and I understand it because it's terrible. It's garbage. So what we try to do on the podcast every single day within a half an hour to 45 minutes every day is I'll go over what is really important, what you need to know. I filter out a lot of the crap, the static, and the important stories. I will actually put them in proper perspective. What other, obviously, news networks are just incapable of doing. One of the things that we've been doing as of late, and we're going to continue to do so, and I think it's important, because, again, I don't put on a skirt and wave pom-poms for Donald Trump. And again, this might upset many people out there. I mentioned here on the program, I'll say it again, I voted for him. I did. He was not my first choice back in 2016. Rand Paul was. Ron Paul was before Rand Paul was for me, going back to 2012. Wasn't my first choice, and I will be very critical of the president. And I think that that's important. I think that's our job. The reason why I'm criticizing the president is because I want him to do well. I want Donald Trump to do well. And I will point out when I think he's just doing things that just are not that smart. So we're in an election year here, and I think it's important that you actually take a look at the record. And in 2016, just like every time, Republicans put out their platform, what they believe in, what they're going to try to achieve if they come to power. So on the podcast, we are going through piece by piece. We're breaking down the Republican platform from 2016, and we're going over where they succeeded and also where they failed. So again, sign up for our podcast, get to our website, watchdogonwallstreet.com. It's available on a myriad of platforms out there, and it's absolutely absolutely free. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. We'll be back.
The only man who is taking on the Wall Street establishment. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the one, the only, the Watchdog on Wall Street show. Again, always honored to have you tuned into the program. I got a kick out of this. John Kasich, former Ohio governor, and also ran for the presidency. Ran for the presidency back in 2016. Remember when he won Ohio? Remember he won Ohio, and the confetti was coming down, and oh my God, it was huge. Right. Sure. He's on CNN. He's a regular contributor there, and he says that the Republican Party, the brand of the Republican Party, has been damaged to the point of meltdown. And I have to laugh at this. He's talking about Donald Trump and how Donald Trump has ruined the Republican Party brand. What brand? You don't have a brand. Hey, John, can you tell me, prior to Donald Trump, what exactly the Republican Party has accomplished at all? At all. Hey, how about the Republican Party? You had the House, you had the Senate. First 2 years of Donald Trump's presidency, what did you get done? Okay, you got tax reform done, and you barely got that through. Did you fix health care? Did you have anything ready there at all? Again, I'm sticking up for Trump here a little bit, but I'm also ripping into Republicans. The Republican Party brand. Take a look at the people that ran against Donald Trump. Republican Party. Jeb Bush. Look at all of the Republicans there, all the party liners there, and they got their butts kicked. So what does that say, John Kasich, about the Republican Party brand? You don't have a brand. Elephant. I don't believe in spineless elephants. I don't. I think elephants have a spine. I think the Republic should probably get a different animal. Anyway. Moving on. Quickly on this story. There was, and I'm telling you that I read stuff, and again, I talk to people, and there's stories that I read, and it brings tears to my eyes. It does. It does because, again, I'm someone who built up a business from nothing. And there's so many people around the country that have done that. And to hear stories about people that have lost their businesses that they built up from nothing, it breaks my heart. There's a story where they go back to Minneapolis, St. Paul today. And they're talking to these immigrants, one from Laos and another one from, I forget where, another one from Somalia, and what has happened to their stores during the riots. This one business owner here, after looking at the losses after the riots, he cried. It was a clothing store. He lost 550 suits, 249 pairs of pants, 227 dress shirts, 180 pairs of shoes, as well as his cash register, other electronics, and damage to the windows and the front door. Many of his most valuable possessions, kept in a heavy-duty safe, were stolen, along with his U.S. citizenship papers. It's been a month since the riots, and he hasn't heard anything from the authorities. Yeah. He said, I never had to call the police in 30 years until the riots erupted. Do you know that they still have not come to investigate? The police in Minneapolis have still not come to investigate. They say no one's available. Can you imagine? You know, they have this clickbait stuff, right, on the internet and whatnot. Where are they now? Oh, here's the stars of this movie. Where are they now? hey, where are all these journalists now that were covering these riots? Where is Minneapolis now? Where is Seattle now? Where are many of these areas now? Why don't you go back and talk to these people that have lost everything? Oh, hey, there's no riot there. You're not interested anymore. Let's move on. Oh, there's no more riot in Minneapolis. Let's go find where the next one is. Let's not take a look at the aftermath. Let's not take a look at the destruction, the people that have been destroyed. No. We don't want to do that. It's sad. It really is. Quickly want to touch on this, too, making this point available. We're none too happy here in this country. We see what's taking place in Hong Kong. China has moved in, and they've got their security law, and it's threatening speech. And there's obviously the threat that Taiwan could be next. Taiwan could be next. Again, this is the left. This is communism. This is Marxism. They shut down any sort of dissent. And what I find fascinating right now is that this is in the news and are like, oh, this is terrible what's happening in China. What the hell do you think is happening here in the United States with this cancel crap? What do you think is happening here in the United States? The only difference is we're not putting people in jail. You might have said something 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and you can lose your job over it. You can be canceled because of it. The line between what's taking place in Hong Kong, China, and the United States is a thin red line. It's not that different. Watchdog on wallstreet.com. Watchdog on wallstreet.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
You should believe in math, not magic. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Okay, here's another see, I told you so moment. We have listeners all over the country, all over the world for that matter. I'm gonna sub-reference a bit of an obscure film. That's not really obscure. He's a guy, genius filmmaker, Stanley Kubrick. The last movie that he put out was Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. And it was, I can't, there's not even a word that I could use to describe the film. But there was this little society, this depraved society that existed with really, really wealthy, connected people that Tom Cruise ended up getting himself involved with in the film. And again, back when the movie first came out, I didn't think anything of it. I'm just here to tell you that stuff's real. Okay? I'm here to tell you, and I have told you that stuff is real. These people that you see, many of these politicians, people on TV, bigwigs, there's a level of depravity out there that it's difficult for most people to understand. Was I surprised at all when the story came out with Matt Lauer having a button underneath his desk to lock people into his room behind it? No, it didn't surprise me at all. You have to understand who these people are. Again, you have to be around them. And I've been around them. And again, I feel like I have to take a couple showers. These are not people that I like very much. Let's just leave it at that. So this story is coming out now. It's making the news again. This Ghislaine Maxwell has been caught. It's kind of interesting is that they had the goods on her 24 years ago. They didn't do a damn thing. And she is a purveyor of underage girls. She went to Chelsea Clinton's wedding. They hung out at the various different palaces. And England, these are people that are very, very well connected. And you saw the story this past week. Deutsche Bank to pay a $150 million fine because Jeffrey Epstein was a client. Oh, give me a break. That's a parking ticket. They don't care. Nobody even knows how Jeffrey Epstein managed the money in the first place. This is so crooked. It's so evil that it's difficult to get your arms around. To me, I don't get it. I don't get it. Well, I'll get back this when we get back. Got to take a break. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com.
She said the cable coming in from
Bringing America financial freedom one listener at a time. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the one, the only, the Watchdog on Wall Street. You're always honored to have you tuned in to the big program. All righty. Okay. Listen, I know we got to finish up with this little Epstein bit right here. Again, I read all of the stories. The Miami Herald did a big, long thing on this, and I think we covered it here on the program. And who this guy was and what he did. And everyone knew. Everyone knew, yet they were still buddies with him. How disgusting. How many people kind of have this belief system is once you start going down a slope of evil, it can just get worse and worse and worse, and you can become more depraved and more depraved and more depraved. Yeah. Take a look. You want to see the people that have hung out with Epstein at his house, gone to his little pedophile island? Yeah. Guys like George Stephanopoulos. I can go on and on and on. I don't know. I don't know what tapes this Ghislaine Maxwell has. I got a funny feeling that it's not going to see the light of day. I don't know if you noticed this. There was a judge, I think it was in North Carolina. This one girl who was abused by Epstein had evidence to prove what was going on and who was there. And the judge said, well, no, that was not obtained properly. You need to destroy it. Nobody can actually know what happens. They're going to protect their own. Again, that is the Watchdog on Wall Street axis of evil. I read these stories about what happened to these girls and how they were lured in and what in my neighborhood and my way of thinking, we take care of this by ourselves. That's right. That's right. And you can translate what I just said to any language you want. We'd handle it. I'd handle it. You're going to do something to someone that I love, that I care. Well, yeah, you know what? I'll handle it. Because the authorities obviously are incapable of doing it. Again, this is part of the problem that we have as a society. We let the rich and famous go. Anyway, you want to talk about a big casualty this past week. And again, this is a warning, okay? The Atlantic Coast Pipeline, Dominion Energy and Duke Energy canceled the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. This is after last month, the Atlantic Coast Pipeline actually won a Supreme Court case. And this has to deal with natural gas production in Appalachia. It's obviously gone through the roof, and they put together a 600-mile, basically, pipeline to transport natural gas from West Virginia through Virginia and North Carolina. And again, the roadblock was cleared. 7-2 Supreme Court case last month. But guess what? Another injunction was put out. and they just threw their hands up in the air. Why? Okay. Businesses hedge. Okay. And I'm telling you what energy companies are thinking right now. Might not like what I have to say, but the wisdom right now is that Joe Biden is going to win in November. And with Joe Biden winning in November, Joe Biden is going to shut down these pipelines. Joe Biden this past week came out, basically signed along the dotted line when it comes to the new Green Deal, and talks about no sort of, hey, we can't have any of that, can't have any of that fossil fuel stuff going on here after 2050. What these energy companies are going to do is they're going to walk away right now. They're going to wait and they're going to see. If there was the feeling out there that Donald Trump was going to win, I think that they might have fought this, continue to fight this, and carry on. But, again, hey, you had a judge basically try to shut down the Keystone Pipeline and actually file an injunction. And the people, the Keystone Pipeline, they're going to fight that. And they're going to keep pumping right now as long as they possibly can until they get shut down. People, this is going to be the reality. Okay, I want to remind everybody this is what the left wants. Now, you might agree with this. I'm going back to Barack Obama's first energy secretary. You may remember? Again, it shows what a nerd I am. Barack Obama's first energy secretary was a guy by the name of Stephen Chu. Know what he wanted? He wanted gasoline prices in the United States at $8 to $9 a gallon. That's right. He wanted them there. He wanted our gasoline prices commensurate or even higher than they were in Europe. They wanted to force a certain type of behavior on we, the people of the United States. Oh, you think I'm making this up? I'm not. It is what it is. Again, a lot of factors coming into place right now when it comes to the markets. And many money managers out there are starting to take a look at, okay, they're really taking a hard look at saying what type of taxes are going to be coming down the pike with a Joe Biden presidency. Are corporate tax rates going to go through the roof again? Are we going to once again become the nation with the highest corporate tax rate in the world? How is that going to affect profits? What's it going to mean if income taxes go up again? And from some of the calculations that we're doing right now, based upon just taxation alone, you're talking about the S&P 500. I'm being honest here, taking anywhere between a 10 to 18% hit due to those higher taxes. It is what it is. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Again, our newsletter, consultations with our certified financial planners, all sorts of great stuff. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. We'll be back.
Chris Markowski is the Watchdog on Wall Street.